Don't forget to also bring up your decimal. My final answer is 2.03 or 2 and 300. For problem D, I have 12 and 1800. That's the number that goes inside as my dividend. My number that goes on the outside, the second one, is called my divisor. It goes on the outside. So, how many times can 29 go into 12? It cannot go into 12, so I'm putting 0. How many times can 29 go into 121? So I'm going to try 4 and see if that works. 29 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 3 is equal to 11. I get 116. So I'm going to subtract 121 minus 116. Now I'm going to regroup because 1 minus 6 does not work. So I regroup and I got 11 minus 6, which is equal to 5. 2 changes to 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. I don't need to write that, but if you would like to, you can. Bring down my 8. How many times can 29 go into 58? I'm going to try 29 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 plus 1 is 5. I get 58 exactly. So 58 minus 58 is equal to 0. Don't forget to bring up your decimal. So my final answer is 4200. Okay, now I'm going to turn my page and I'm working on problem number 3. Again, problem number 3, I am dividing, so I'm doing the same thing as earlier. I have 97 and 58 hundredths, which goes inside as my dividend, and 34 on the outside as my divisor. So now I am multiplying. I'm going to try to figure out how many times can I multiply 34. I'm going to multiply 34 times 2 and see if that works. 4 times 2 is 8, and 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going to use 68. 97 minus 68, I cannot subtract 7 minus 8, so I am going to regroup. 17 minus 8 is equal to 9. 9 changes to 8. 8 minus 6 is equal to 2, and I need to bring down my 5. Now let's try 34 times 8 and see if that one works. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 3 is 27. That one is really super close. So I'm going to multiply 34 times 8, which is equal to 272, and subtract. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. 9 minus 7 is equal to, is that equal to 7? Wait, sorry. 9 minus 7 is equal to 2. Don't forget to bring down your 8. Now we have 238. So I'm going to try 34 times 7 and see if that works. 4 times 7 is 28. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 2 is 23. So I get exactly 238. I subtract and I get 0. Don't forget to put your 7 there, otherwise your answer is going to be incorrect. And also your decimal, super important. That decimal, you need to bring it up, otherwise it's going to be wrong. You get 287 versus 2 and 87 hundredths, completely different numbers. You don't want to mess it up. So for the next problem, I am dividing 55 and 35 hundredths, which is the number that goes inside as my dividend, and 45 as my number that goes on the outside as my divisor. I'm figuring out how many times can 45 go into 55, about once. That is the closest you will get. So now I'm subtracting. 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down your 3. I'm going to multiply 45 times 2 and see if that's going to give me close to answer of 103. 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. I'm going to use that. 103 minus 90. 3 minus 0 is equal to 3. 10 minus 9 is equal to 1. Bring down your 5. Now we need to figure out how many times can 45 go into 135. Possibly about 3 times. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. I get 135, and I multiplied 45 times 3. So 135 minus 135 is equal to 0. Don't forget to bring up your decimal, and your final answer is 1 and 23 hundredths. Now, I'm going to move on to problem number 4. Problem number 4 asks you to use the equations on the left to solve the problems on the right. Explain how you decided where to place the decimal and the quotient. So very, very interesting. Look here. They give you the answer when they solve 520.3 or 520 and 3/10 divided by 43, which gives you 12 and 1/10. Now, over here, you have the same numbers except for notice where the decimal place is. Okay, that means that I'm moving my decimal over my answer about 1 time and to my left. Okay, so that means that your numbers are going to be the same, 2, 1, 2, and 1, but you're going to be moving your decimal over 1 time over. So instead of having it here, you're moving it over once right here. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, I can explain it by dividing. So I'm going to divide right here, 5, 2, 0, 3, and we have 43. We know that 43 can go in 52 once. 43, 12 minus 3 is equal to 9. 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down my 0. 43 can go into 90 2 times. 43 times 2 is equal to 86. Subtract. 10 minus 6 is equal to 4. Bring down my 3. 43 can go into 43 one time. Subtract. 43 minus 43 is equal to 0. I kind of should have put more space, but my point is your answer is 1 and 21 hundredths. Okay, so the only difference is you moved your decimal. So the dividend is 10 times smaller, so the quotient will be 10 times smaller too. Quotient meaning answer to your division problem. Now, this one they're doing the same thing. They give you the answer when they multiplied. When they divided 19 and 8 hundredths divided by 36 and got 53 hundredths. And over here, they divided 190 and 8/10 divided by 36. And you're going to get the same numbers except for, let's see what happens to your decimal, okay? Where will it go? So I'm going to divide just to make so you guys can see as well. 190.8 divided by 36. 36 can't go into 19, but it can go into 190 5 times. 36 times 5 is 6 times 5 is 30, 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 8. I get 180 and I subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0, 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down your 8. I'm going to try 36 times 3. 6 times 3 is 18, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. I get 108. And I subtract. Don't forget to bring up your decimal and you get 5.3. So that means your answer, same numbers, 5 and 3, except for your decimal is in the middle. You can erase this 0 because that's uncommon when you see an answer. So the dividend is 10 times bigger, so your quotient will be 10 times bigger too. Is there any more problems? Yes. So right here on page 140, we're going to divide these numbers here. You can look it up as well, but these are numbers that I will be using. So the Aon Center in Chicago, it says here, Illinois is one of the world's tallest buildings. Built in 1973, it is 1,136 feet high and 80 stories. If each story is equal of height, how tall is each story? So I'm dividing 80 stories, and I'm dividing that by 1,136 feet. How many times can 80 go into 113? 1 time. Subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. 11 minus 8 is going to give me 3. Don't forget to bring down your 6. How many times can 80 go into 336? We are going to try 4 times. 0 times 4 is equal to 0. 4 times 6 is equal to 32. So I'm writing that down, 320. 6 minus 0 is equal to 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down your 0, we get 160. And we know that 80 times 2 is equal to 160. Don't forget to bring up your decimal, and your final answer is 14.2 feet. So each story is about 14.2 feet tall. Now, for the second problem, it says Barj, I think that's how you say it, Al Arab Hotel, another one of the world's tallest building, was finished in 1999. Located in Dubai, it is 1,053 feet high with 60 stories. If each floor is the same height, how much taller or shorter is each floor than the height of the floors in the Aeon Center? So I'm imagining this tall building, right? Very high building that is being built, and I am dividing 60 stories by 1,053 feet, so I can figure out how much is each floor in height. So now I'm going to divide. 60 cannot go into 10, but 60 can go into 105 one time. I'm subtracting. 5 minus 0 is 5, 10 minus 6 is 4. Don't forget to bring down your 3. We have 453. I'm going to try to multiply times 7 and see if that's correct. 60 times 7 is equal to 420. So I'm writing down here 420. 3 minus 0 is 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. Bring down your 0. How many times can 60 go into 330? I'm going to try 5 times. 6 times 5 is 30. So add your 0 at the end, 300. 0 minus 0 is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. I'm going to add another 0. 3 minus 3 is 0, so I don't have to add that 0. Now 60 times 5 I know is exactly equal to 300. Subtract and I get 0. Don't forget to bring up your decimal. So I got 17.55. Now I need to subtract 14.2. Why do I need to subtract 14.2 from this number over here? Remember 14.2 feet? So I can add a 0 at the end. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. Bring down your decimal. 7 minus 4 is 3. So the floors of the Barj Al Arab Hotel are 3.35 feet taller than the floors of the Aeon Center. And that is all for today.